Hey there, YouTube. Jack here, and we got episode 21 of Jack's Low Carb Journey. I'm about 1,000% sure I got that one right for a change. Let me move the microphone a little bit closer. This is going to be a video. It's going to be shorter than a lot of the ones I've done lately, and I'm just going to say up front, if you know anybody that is currently on a weight loss diet program, even if it's not keto, if they're doing the right things and they're working hard at reducing their weight, which in my opinion is working hard at saving your own life, this will be a video to share with them. I'm going to talk about something today that when I first say what it is, you're going to be like, what the hell does that have to do with weight loss? But I think once I explain it, it'll make perfect sense. Let me get my sheet up. I always like to give you accurate information when I report my own results. We are on day 47 today. And I weighed in this morning at 220 pounds, which means in 47 days I've lost 27 pounds on keto, 10.93% of my starting body weight. Can't wait for another couple days when it comes time to measure my waist again and determine what my body fat is. I'm betting I'm going to go down into acceptable body fat. It won't be acceptable to me, but I will no longer be clinically defined as obese. And that means I've moved from obese, which is high risk for heart attack, stroke, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, kidney damage, all of it, to not being clinically defined that way in less than about 50 days is I think what it's going to come out. Simply by doing simple math and making good decisions. And the app that I'm using, and you can use any app you want, there's tons of them out there, does most of the math for me. So a little bit of research, paying attention, controlling my macros, and keeping my carbs under 20 carbs. And if you guys have seen some of the pictures I post, I'm not suffering. But yeah, I want to transition into this, and I want to say if somebody referred you to this video and you're doing something other than keto and it's working for you, everything I'm about to say from here applies, though I think most people, not all people, I think most people will get best results with the keto style diet, so you may want to look into it. So what I want to talk to you about is advice that was given to me, God, I guess almost 24 years ago when I was a young man and I was starting out, and it was my first really big job in corporate sales. And I went out to California to get training, which was basically not how to sell. They assumed I knew how to do that based on my prior job, which is why they hired me. It was really all the equipment that the company built. It was a computer hardware manufacturing company that specialized in stuff for like industrial applications and telecom providers and stuff like that. And the only sales training I got was one of the senior executives out there said, hey, I was out there for like 2 weeks for this. He said, hey, let's go out and have a drink tonight. We went out to a bar, and we were sitting there, and he said, I want to talk to you about sales, and you probably don't think I know anything about sales because even though I'm one of the top people in this company, I've never held a sales position in my life. But I've been in business a long time, and I've managed a lot of salespeople. I've seen a lot of salespeople come and go in this business and in others. And there's one thing that I have learned about sales. And he went on to give me more than one thing, but was basically your customers will teach you how to sell to them if you listen to them. And so that's not the advice I have for you. The advice that he gave me that I think so much applies to diet and exercise and lifestyle change as it does to sales is he said the problem that salespeople have is they get really excited over stupid little shit, which in of itself wouldn't be bad because being excited means motivation, and motivation means action, and action means results. The big problem is they get equally depressed over little bitty shit that doesn't matter. And what happens is because the emotional highs, and he said there's a certain personality you guys have as salespeople that's almost like a bipolar type personality. And without it, you are not a good salesman. Because you have to be able to go into a room full of executives sitting around with, suits and ties on that are like mopey and bored and probably hate their lives and get them excited about something stupid like computer hardware so that they'll cut a check for $500,000. That's your job. You have to be a unique personality to do this. So you get really excited about little things and that carries you. But the problem is because that emotional high is way up here. When some little thing like a purchase order gets put back, or something that you had as a 90% on your forecast becomes a 20%, you go like this and you crash. You have that bipolar side, and you get really, really depressed. That's how weight loss works. One day you get on that scale, you lost 1.5 pounds. And overall, maybe you've lost 8 pounds since you started. And like we talked about yesterday, we have these fluctuations where weight goes up and down a little bit. So then your weight goes up 2 pounds for no reason at all. You've done everything right. And then 2 or 3 days go by and it kind of stays there. And then it goes up like a 0.2, 0.3 pounds. And then it comes back down to where it was. And then maybe it drops a little bit. But maybe you go 4 or 5 days and you're just in this little hell loop is what it feels like. And you start feeling like, man, I'm doing everything right. What's wrong? Well, you're looking at this little bitty thing. Instead of saying, well, I've been doing this for 25 days and I'm down 8 pounds or 12 pounds, you're worried about this little bitty thing. Let me tie that back into sales. If salespeople were judged on a daily quota instead of like a monthly or quarterly quota, we'd all get fired. Now, I'm not in sales anymore, but back when I was in sales, there were, I was judged. That's the one thing about being in sales. You are judged on your performance. You are carrying a bag, and it better be full at the end of the measurement period. And usually 2 measurement periods, whatever it is in your job, is enough to really start looking for another job. Something's wrong, and you're not going to keep your job for a 3rd period if you don't do it. So 3 quarters in a row off quota by a significant number, and you're going to get fired from almost any sales job out there. Okay? 2, you might. And if there's anything else weak about your performance. So if we were judged that way in sales on a daily number, especially in not telephone sales to sell insurance, or window stickers or some shit like that, what you're doing, your quota is $12 million a quarter. If you were judged on a daily or even weekly basis in that, you'd get in trouble. You'd lose your job. No one could maintain that level of consistency. Weight loss may seem entirely different, but it's not. We need to be judging ourselves on 10, and really we need to be judging ourselves on 30 to 40 day timelines. The daily weight that I have y'all doing that are on my challenge is just an accountability. It makes you think about the fact that every time you look at like a bowl of M&Ms that you gave your kids and you want to just grab a handful and shove them in like you used to, well, tomorrow I'm going to have to step on that scale. It's not to judge yourself on those individual days. But what it does do, and this is where you do need to judge things, if it's up 1 pound today, up 0.5 pound tomorrow, up 1 pound the next day, even, up another pound, and you are steadily going up, there's something that needs to be looked at and adjusted. You're either eating carbs you don't think you are, you're eating calories you don't think you are, or maybe you're eating too little food. That usually doesn't result in gain. It results in stalled loss, though. But, if there is, over time, anything doing this direction, stop focusing on the little and focus on the big picture. Going back to sales, yeah, we would get a talking to if our quarterly numbers were 5% down. But if we're in the 3rd quarter and my 1st quarter was 10% over, my 2nd quarter is 15% over, my 3rd quarter was 5% down, and my biggest quarter of the year is always my 4th, I don't give a shit what my manager has to say. I know what the end of the year is going to look like, and guess what I get at the end of the year if I'm in sales? I get my bonus check. And I'll tell you what, I was good at what I did, and there were times that my one bonus check at the end of the year was about half of what my commission and salary was for the entire year, because you bonused out at the end. That's how a lot of incentive sales programs work. They judge you on what have you done for us for the entire year. Look at your weight loss goals, your exercise goals, and your lifestyles that way. What have you done for yourself over the year? And when you start thinking about the fact you've only started, for most of you that are in my challenge, somewhere between 2 and 12 days ago, you're looking at this. The other side of that, whenever I had a salesperson that was working for me having problems, even though we don't judge the performance over just the day, we judge the activity by the day. And sitting down and going over their fundamentals of what they were going to do that day and that week, how many calls they were going to make, how many appointments they had, how many prospecting calls they were going to make, every single thing that they were going to do that week. is how we always ensured that those quarterly numbers looked good and the annual number looked great. So focus on the activity and the things that you need to do on a daily basis, and focus on the results over time. And you won't get depressed over little bitty things. But go ahead and let yourself be excited over little bitty things. Little victories carry the day. I did this one today because I have so many of y'all coming into your second period, coming into that 10 days. And so many of you are putting up big numbers in those first 10 days. Expect that it's going to slow down in days 10 through 20. It won't for everybody, but expect that it will. Some people will not do that great in the first 10, and they'll actually have a big acceleration into days 11 through 16. It'll probably slow down again. Don't get discouraged. Focus on the big picture as far as results. Focus on the day as far as the activities and the things that you need to get done. By the way, if you're stalled, I've got the first solution I would take if I were you. Get your ass up out of bed 20 minutes early and take a walk for 20 minutes and then go back to your daily routine, whatever it is. But I want my sleep. Do you want your sleep or do you want your health? Get up first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, walk for 20 minutes, take your phone with you so you get a number. Let's try that first. I promise you the rest of your day will go better anyway. With that, I'll catch up with you Monday with another episode.